Hello, everybody. It's a vertical sandwich. Welcome back to book reviews. So today we're gonna do we're gonna do Heinlein's first novel to win out of four, Double Star. It won in 1956. It was the third Hugo Award winner ever. So, yeah. So now we're into territory where you really have to ask yourself, is it fair to judge these things kind of by modern science fiction standards? And I don't know. I don't know. Am I still going to judge them by modern science fiction standards? Well, we'll talk about it a little bit. So, here's what it says in the back. Galactic Masquerade, a jobless actor in the year 2100, catches a drink from a space pilot and finds himself shanghaied to Mars for the most important and dangerous role of his career. The role? Doubling for a missing leader who is the most loved and most threatened Earthman on the planet. The stakes? Peace with the Martians and colonial union with the democratic interworld empire if he succeeds. The risk? Quick death if Martian foes detect the ruse, or lifelong pretense if the politician never reappears. So this is just the movie Dave, essentially. It's the movie Dave, but in space. Uh, that's not necessarily true. But the idea is that this actor, like, runs into this pilot, says, hey, like, buys him a drink because he kind of wants to grift him for, like, acting lessons or something. It's bizarre. And the guy just, like, takes him and throws him in a ship and takes him to Mars and is like, you're doing this thing for me. And the thing is doubling for this politician. And this guy just happens to be the world's greatest actor because Overmen. That's why. Because 1956. That's why. And so it's all about all these strange things he has to do as this politician and how he makes it through and how things work out for him, or how things don't, and like how people are scared and there's actions people trying. There's this conspiracy against this politician. So let's read a little bit. This is going to be a brief review, by the way. I had never meddled in politics. My father had warned against it. Stay out of it, Larry, he had told me solemnly. The publicity you get that way is bad publicity. The peasants don't like it. I had never voted, not even after the amendment of '98 made it easy for the floating population, which includes, of course, most members of the profession, to exercise franchise. However, insofar as I had political leanings of any sort, they certainly did not lean towards Bonfort. I considered him a dangerous man and very possibly a traitor to the human race. The idea of standing up and getting killed in his place was, how shall I put it, distasteful to me. But what a role. I once played the lead in L'Aiglon, and I had played Caesar in the only two plays about him worthy of the name. But to play such a role in life, well, it is enough to make one understand how a man could go to the guillotine in another man's place, just for the chance to play, even for a few moments, the ultimately exacting role in order to create the supreme, the perfect work of art. I wondered who my colleagues had been who had been unable to resist that temptation on those earlier occasions. They had been artists, that was certain. Though their very anonymity was the only tribute to the success of their characterizations. I tried to remember just when the earlier attempts on Bonfort's life had taken place, and which colleagues who might have been capable of the role had died or dropped out of sight at those times. But it was useless. Not only was I not too sure of the details of current political history, but also actors simply fade out of view with depressing frequency. It is a chancy profession, even for the best of us. I found that I had been studying closely the characterization. So, that's the idea. It's from the first-person perspective about this guy who has to pretend to be this intergalactic politician on, like, the most important day of his life because somebody has kidnapped him. And so there's this group of people who are trying to unkidnap him while this guy has to be in place for him. And the reason that they have to have a double, and that it has to happen now, and that they can't admit to the kidnapping, all those things are very contrived. They're very, this is a 1958 magazine science fiction. Look at how thin this is. You read it in a day. Like, a day easy. How many pages is this? 128 pages. So this was published in a magazine, and then somebody slapped a binding on it and went, here's a Hugo Award. Now, you might like that. It's very involved. You can tell that Heinlein has really crawled inside of what he thinks the mind of an actor would look like. And that what he really wants to tell you is things about actors. And that's okay. Like, that's fine. But you could tell that he does what a lot of sci-fi writers did in the magazine era. He gets in the middle of his story and then goes, oh man, this premise stretches credibility. I've got to make stuff up. Which is really crazy because Heinlein's like the guy, right? Heinlein was like established early on enough to be really well known and then use that voice to be experimental and really drive the industry. But he's not doing it in this novel. It's too early. I mean, he's an award. He's like one of the best of the magazine writers. But what he's writing is still very of the times. Now, are some aspects interesting? Yeah, compared to Heinlein's later stuff, maybe it's worth reading all of his early stuff to see kind of the evolution of this guy who. But he gets in the middle and he says like, oh man, this guy's got to learn Martian in like 2 days. Well, I'll just make him a really quick study at that. Or this guy's got to do this. Well, I'll just make this a thing. And you go, what? Yeah, like, you know, we learn through our evolution of kind of tasting better things that not evolution by our practice at tasting better things, we know that the way to masterfully set that up is to set those things up like they're small details and then bring them back into work out later. And Heinlein doesn't do that. He just kind of goes, I will write a paragraph that explains that. And then you go like, well, okay, but you didn't, like, whatever, it's fine, I guess. It's fine. It all does the thing it's supposed, it's a story. And at the end of the story you go, hey, there's the end of the story. And then you put the book down and you pick up Lieber's The Big Time, which is like the next little magazine sci-fi thingy we're going to do. But, that being said, it reads like Waystation. It reads like The Big Time. It reads like all these other kind of magazine, kind of early 60s, late 50s, like mid 50s science fiction stories. Like, here's your hero, here's why he's your hero. And then you're done, and you go, yeah, that guy was awesome. Snooze. And I hate to say that about a Heinlein book, because again, he's a legend in the genre. But I mean, I've read 3 of the 4 Heinlein winners, and 2 of them are amazing, and one of them is this, and the third one is Stranger in a Strange Land, and I have it. It's sitting on the shelf. In fact, as of my next Amazon delivery, all Hugo Award winners but 2 will be sitting on my shelf, and that's because a friend has the other 2 and has extra copies, and just I can have them at Christmas. So, yeah, I'm very close to owning them all. So we're going to review all of them, every single one. There's 69. There's 69 Hugo Award winners for Best Novel, and I will read and review every one. Now, that being said, so I don't know. I mean, I'm torn on this one, and the reason is, so this is Heinlein's Double Star, won in 1958. 1956. I'm sorry, 1956. This is Heinlein's Double Star. It won in 1956, and it's not a hard read. So if you're into Heinlein, and you want to read a nice little very early Heinlein story, boom, 128 pages a day, 2 days tops. Will you regret it? I don't know. If you've read kind of, schlocky sci-fi, is it better than the sci-fi from earlier, like the Edgar Rice Burroughs stuff? Oh yeah, it's way better than that. Does it kind of reek of 50s magazines? It does. I can't tell you it doesn't. It does. It hasn't aged well. And it's crazy because he wins like 4 years later with, I think, Stranger in a Strange Land or something. And then he wins slightly after that with The Moon is a Harsh Mistress, and you just go like, this novel's genius. And then he wins again with like Starship Troopers, and you're like, this novel's amazing. But at that point he had the power and the skill and craft to take those chances, right? And at this point, I just don't think that's what's going on. I think he's writing to get a check, like a lot of 50 sci-fi writers were. They weren't writing to make broad statements or to be artists, even though, this is all about a guy being an artist. And maybe there's a part of Heinlein in here screaming that he wants to write Starship Troopers as he's writing this. But he didn't write Starship Troopers in 1956. He wrote Double Star. So, I don't think you would regret reading it, but don't expect anything great. Don't go like Robert Heinlein has won 4 Hugo Awards. This is one of the winners. It's going to be amazing. The other 3 Hugo Award winners are definitely better than this book. This is his weakest Hugo Award winner. So, I don't know. But again, it's a nice science fiction story. It's fine that way. Yeah, if you just want to read a nice science fiction story, if you can enjoy an Edgar Rice Burroughs like John Carter of Mars science fiction story, this isn't going to hurt you. Like, it's going to be a nice, easy read for you. But otherwise, like, if what you want is groundbreaking social commentary from Heinlein, there is none of that in here. None. There is none of later Heinlein in here. And that's kind of a shame. But it did win a Hugo Award, so I'm obligated. I was obligated to read it, and I was obligated to review it. And now it can go in the I've reviewed it pile. So this book is available wherever fine books are sold. Probably not. I mean, this is like a hard book to find because look at it. I mean, who's gonna buy this? It doesn't even look like a book. It looks like you know. I mean, it looks. But you can order it off Amazon because I did. So I will see you guys for the next book review, and well, I'll see you guys for that. Bye, everybody.